Đầu tiên thì em xin mời báo cáo viên thứ nhất, đó là cô Vũ Thị Thu Hằng, hiện nay đang đến từ khoa sau đại học trường Đại học Ngoại ngữ Đại học Quốc gia Hà Nội, với tiêu đề của báo cáo đó là sử dụng một số những ứng dụng để cải thiện khả năng phát âm của học sinh lớp 3 tại một trường tiểu học. Đây là một cái nghiên cứu hành động của cô. Xin mời cô Hằng ạ.
Thank you, Ms. Minh Thu, and hello everyone. And it's my great honor to be here to present today to talk with you about my topic, just about the use of apps to improve the third graders' English pronunciation at the primary school, an action research study. And with the Vietnamese name is sử dụng một số ứng dụng để cải thiện khả năng phát âm của học sinh lớp 3 tại một trường tiểu học, một nghiên cứu hành động. And in my presentation, I just focus on 7 main idea. The first one is rationales of study, the benefits of using apps in teaching and learning English pronunciation. And next, English pronunciation teachers are constantly looking for new approaches and tools to assist their students to improve their English. And aside from the classroom and other written resources, technologies, integrated language education provide a wide range of materials to language learners. And apps may be taught as online teaching tools that can be extremely useful resources for both students and teachers. The context of this research: the student, some of them has poor pronunciation and with improper words emphasis, so they're not confident enough to do speaking tasks successfully, and the teacher aims to improve the students' English pronunciation through using learning apps. The second one is about the research aims and objective. The aim just use apps to encourage 8 years old children to improve their pronunciation at a primary school, and the objectives investigating how students at a primary school improve their pronunciation after adopting pronunciation training apps in teaching and learning pronunciation. And next up, steps identifying student attitude toward using learning apps to improve their pronunciation. With the research question, in the research, the researchers answered 2 research questions. The first one, how does the use of pronunciation instruction apps in teaching and learning pronunciation help to develop a primary school student pronunciation? And question research 2, what are grade A1 and grade A2 students' attitudes toward the use of pronunciation instruction apps for improving pronunciation? In the literature review part, just focus on the definition of pronunciation, the significance of pronunciation, pronunciation in language teaching, and approaches to teaching pronunciation, pronunciation teaching elements, and pronunciation teaching and learning idea. About the learning apps, just talk about some theoretical background of technology and application in language teaching. Now it's time for us to grasp the overall landscape of technology in foreign language classroom or education technology, and talk about some advantages and disadvantages of using pronunciation apps in teaching and learning pronunciation. And of course, we need to talk about some about previous study and methodology. In this study, the researchers used action research, because through the action research, the teachers may increase both his or her personal competition and learning of his or her students. And the outcome of this study in a classroom setting are intended to improve the quality of pronunciation, instruction, and learning. So the research method and procedure here is the simple action research model adapted from rating and Follow and Levy in 1995, and there are 4 steps in a cycle. The first one, plan, act, observe, and reflect, and repeat and repeat. So the context, the research site is at a primary school in Hanoi, and participated 50 students of 2 third grade classes. and teacher plus the researcher. And app evaluation in this research two apps, IXL and UseStream. With IXL, the researchers can create the account for students and give this for students, and the teachers can give the students some suggestions with the path the student should practice at home. And of course, you should practice, you should just take a video for the lesson. And test the collection instrument. The first one, the researcher used pre-test and post-test questionnaire and observation. The finding and discussions with the question number one. This is question number one, the effectiveness of intervention. There are two charts here. Chart number one, the overall average score against pre-test and post-test. In the first chart, you can see the average score in pre-test just 5.4 bit. At the post-test is 7.7, so it increased. And the chart number two, the score of students pre-test and post-test. Well, in the pre-test, the score just was from 2 to 8, but the post-test, the score from 6 to 9.5. So the teacher Ewing's pronunciation have significantly improved the students' pronunciation. And next, with the research question number two, the students' attitudes toward the use of pronunciation instructions apps for improving pronunciation. The table 3 show the outcomes of students' questionnaire response, and there are 8 questionnaire here, and because they are just primary students, so with some question, the teacher have to help them to understand and answer it in class. And when we see this table, we see most of students are using pronunciation apps, and most of them talk they could learn at home without the teacher helps. And just some students have problem with they cannot log in with the account, or they forgot the passwords. And we can say the students have positive views regarding their teacher use of pronunciation apps to assist them in improving their pronunciation. With the table 4 about the students' evaluations of class activities, and in this study, the researcher used 8 activities. Like the first one, look at the letter and say the words, put the words into correct spot. Activity 2 is speak and write, minimal pace, bingo games, keep quiet game, who can speak, hunt the words over an hour, and memory games. And the majority of activity outside the pronunciation in classics was thought to be very interesting and useful, so the teachers selected appropriate and exciting aspect activity to effectively improve student pronunciation. You can see here, most of them thought very useful and interesting. And with the last table, the table number 5, the students respond to their favorite activity. The 3 most popular activity that encourage students to practice in class was memory game, auto and out, and minimal pass bingo game with 80, 60, and 56%. And when observed this class, the researchers saw most students they really like to play in class, but just few of them a little bit shy to join the game, but they like the game, but they just shy. And the second part about the conclusions, the major finding about the effectiveness of the use of the apps is significantly improve the students' pronunciation. You can see through this table, through the chart, and the student attitude positive. Most students love using apps to learn and increase students' motivation and enthusiasm for mastering pronunciation, help in the development and reinforcement of students itself. Apps have some limitation, like limitation number one is the size of the sample is quite small, just 50 third grader, and it's quite difficult to generalize finding to a larger population, and with the limitation number two about the time. The study was performed in second semester of the school year and just in 10 weeks. And limitation number three, this study only looked at three elements of pronunciation. Those about consonants, vowel sounds, as well as the word stress. And some sessions for further study, just do larger and further research projects with more participants in other English language skills and incorporate additional apps into the EFL curriculum and used as a good reference for English instruction in general and pronunciation teachers particularly. Thank you for listening, everyone.